Agriculture on the move.
Agricole mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole mouvement. Good day again, St. Lucia, and welcome to the program, Agriculture on the Move, Agricole Mouvement. Yes, we are on the move in St. Lucia as far as agriculture is concerned, and that is why today our topic is a very interesting one, but more importantly, it's a program that we must discuss at this juncture in St. Lucia. Our food prices are rising, our food import bill is soaring. So today with me are three gentlemen to have that important discussion, and to my immediate right is Mr. Vincent Lacobinier, who is the General Manager of the St. Lucia Marketing Board, Mr. Richard Edwin, who is the President of Cooperative Choice Group, CCG, and of course Mr. Dean Averill, who is the Climate Smart Agricultural Officer, Husk Caribbean. Gentlemen, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
There are a lot of people who probably don't know what is Husk Caribbean, and some people don't know what is Cooperative Choice Group. So I think before we get anywhere, let us get that straight out, let people understand, who is who. Okay, so Mr. Edwin, tell me about your cooperative briefly.
Okay, Cooperative Choice Group is a cooperative, of course. It was registered in 2018. We are strictly a farming organization, farmers organization, and we are interested, or we're trying to promote farmers in St. Lucia.
Okay, great, that's good. Okay, Mr. Averill, tell us about Husk Caribbean.
So Husk Caribbean is a Canadian NGO funded through Global Affairs Canada. We're implementing a 5-year project called the Sustainable Agriculture in the Caribbean Project. So I serve as a Climate Smart Officer, and we have 2 other officers in St. Lucia. Ms. Eugene, who is the Agribusiness and Marketing Officer, and Mr. Aaron Brown, who's assisting with Gender and Inclusion Affairs.
Great, okay, good. Nice balance. Well, marketing board is self-explanatory. Okay, I just want to get a clear idea of your own perception of food and nutrition security. I'll start with you, Mr. Averill.
Okay, so basically we talk about the availability of food, affordability of food, and access. All right, most importantly. So when we talk about a nation being food secure, at any point in time, all its citizens should be able to access good quality nutritious food at prices that are affordable. And I mean, by that definition alone, you can tell that we are in some problems.
Yeah. Okay, Mr. Edwin, what's your take?
Food security is an urgency in St. Lucia right now. Not only in St. Lucia, but all over the world, but we are specifically focusing on St. Lucia. And it has, as you said in your opening, it has to be dealt with. We must discuss it. And we from the CCG, we feel that we are literally pussyfooting on it. We are not serious. We are not aggressive enough in addressing that issue.
Okay. So therefore, that's why we're discussing it today.
Right, and we have to discuss it in a very aggressive way. And we also have to be serious about it.
Okay.
And we are not seeing the seriousness, about, in terms of, the crisis that we are faced with right now.
Okay. Okay, so Mr. Lacobinier, from a marketing standpoint, where does the marketing board fit in that whole equation?
Well, marketing really is making the produce or the crops, the food available to the consumer. That's basically what it is.
That's right.
Now, if we don't have the food, it's going to be available to the consumer. The question is, where does the food come from? It comes from foreign, it's imported, but our local producers do not have access as we would like them to have as far as the production is concerned. So the conversation should not just be for marketing. It's supposed to be for marketing and production. Because we need to understand, for example, how the consumer consumes, what the consumer consumes, when the consumer consumes, and in what form. What form meaning, where does that consumer want to produce the food?
That's right.
Now this is where all this conversation must lead to.
And the quantity, the quantum
The
that's required.
quantity that's required. And that is what the problem is. Now, how do you get all information? This information must come from somewhere. It must come from data. It must come from who knows what, when to produce, how to produce, how much to produce. And that is something that should be established to facilitate the marketing of the produce. Because if you don't know what the consumer wants, you can't produce for them.
Exactly.
If you don't know what quantity they want, you don't know anything about, you don't know any information about the consumer, how can you produce for them? Right. And that is where the problem is. We do not know on a regular basis, consistently, what the consumer needs, when the consumer needs it, in what volume that the consumer needs it. So you find every so often, you hear, boy, we don't have cabbage, we don't have tomato, we don't have carrots.
It's fluctuating.
It's fluctuating. So, I mean, and we have the capacity, the marketing board has the capacity for storage. But where the information coming from? The information must come from somewhere. So we need a system to collect data on the field and to transform it into what I call the consumer demand, satisfying it. But also, we need the producers to have the information. So that what? So that they can go and produce the crop. So that's where the marketing board comes in, and that's where marketing comes in. So marketing is really the tool to facilitate food security.
Definitely. Now, I was told that there is a food and nutrition security policy in the ministry, which was established about 7 years ago. I think there's a 10-year policy. There's 3 more years to go. In fact, I had a short discussion with my peers, and I think more so than now. Now, I think it has to be brought to the table, and I think there is a committee now looking at it from the ministry standpoint. But I'm putting it out there to ask the question: what do you think the ministry has done, or have done, or is not doing, as far as food security is concerned?
Well, if I can take a stab at it, and it is very important that you mention that this policy is now being revisited, and the action plan is being revisited, because one of the things that we've been having this discussion ever since CCG had their consultation in June was, okay, we had an action plan. How do we go back to that action plan? What have we achieved from that action plan? We have policies, we have a lot of recommendations in that plan, talking about revising legislation, what we do to tackle predial larceny, what we do to tackle losses, how do we balance, like my colleague said, balance production with storage, with market supply, how do we do all of these things? So if we had a plan, there's nothing wrong now. We're at a good juncture now, 10 years later. Revisit the plan. What have we achieved? What have we not achieved? What is stopping us from getting to the targets that we need to meet?
Right.
That is what we need to do.
Very good.
You see, that's why the conversation is so important. And we have to ask the question, where do we start? If we are talking about food security, who produces the food? We have to start with the farmer. And this is where I think that the greatest challenge is, if it's not a problem. We have to start the discussion with even in formulating the plan.
That's right, yes.
When we have a plan, and the plan is put somewhere, and nobody knows about it, how do you implement it? How does it come on stream? It's impossible to come on stream, And I think what we are forgetting is that we are pushing the farmer aside, or leaving them aside, and not including them in the whole discussion.
In the formulation of the policy formation, I mean, I'm wondering whether the farmers were involved, or farmer groups were involved in actually creating that situation, because the farmer is key. In other words, I'm seeing here, when it comes to the annual work of extension, I mean, you cannot formulate an action plan without the farmers being involved, you know, and that's where we are today. So coming from your consultation, what came out of that? What the farmers are asking, what they're saying to assist moving forward?
You see, we have a critical problem here. A problem of organization. We have to find a vehicle through which we can bring the farmers together. And at this point, the only thing we have is the cooperative organizations. And look at the state of cooperative organizations in this country. You know, they are not involved in anything. The farmers are fragmented. There's no attempt in actually bringing the farmers together.
Who's supposed to do that?
Everybody. Everyone is supposed to be doing that. But most importantly is the Department of Cooperative. They have to do that. You know, we have been trying. I mean, the CCG has been trying for a number of years now, about 3-4 years now, trying to bring farmers together, so that we can better represent the farmers and use the cooperative as a vehicle to actually generate interest in producing, you know, and in seeing what it is needed, you know, in addressing the whole problem of food security. But the support is not there. The support is not there, you know, and we feel at CCG that we are even being ostracized because we are too aggressive. We talk too much or something like that, you know, but we are not giving up. I wouldn't say that we don't care, but we are unafraid, I should say.
So, who are you all targeting? What organization are you all targeting? Where you think that writing should start? Is it from the ministry standpoint or for the cooperative department standpoint?
The cooperative department has to be there because there's a lack of education as far as cooperative is concerned. We have to be able to determine what is the role of the cooperative in the economy of this country. Where do we stand in that? What as a sector? What value it is to the national economy? You know, if we are not able to determine that, you know, then we treat cooperatives as an afterthought, as if they are not important, and so they have no place in the economy. You know, so the farmers must be isolated, and they're fragmented, and they don't know what to do, where to go. Farmers know how to plant, they have to know how to produce, but at the same time, if we are addressing a problem and we need collective action, we have to approach it as a unit.
Yes, of course.
But you know, while he's talking there, it brings back the conversation from a historical perspective. When we wanted to expand the development of any crop, in the old, what the Americans like to use, the founding fathers. The founding fathers were, instructive enough to have created what? The cocoa board, the agricultural association, diverse associations to do what? To facilitate the production of the crop and the marketing of the crop. So, but you see, we have to look at what are the structures that we put in place to do anything in this country. And that is where he's talking about the cooperative. The cooperative movement is a structure that should be put in place as a methodology of work. So that because you must have a structure to facilitate the production. Now, if we have to look at banana production, there was the company. The company had the transport sector. It had the financial sector. It had your
extension office, technical work.
Now tell me what other commodity have the privilege? I use the word privilege. Have the privilege of such a structure.
Yes, right.
And that is what we're talking about when you're talking about cooperatives. And even the marketing board. Every country at some point had a marketing board to facilitate production, to facilitate the movement of the produce from the farmer to the market. Now look at the state today to the marketing board. Look at the state of it today. It's struggling. You have no technical support from anybody in terms of an organized way. Marketing board, from what I have known, does not have even a copy, right, of the plan you're talking about. Food security plan. In terms of one where the marketing board knows the target, marketing board knows the crop, and marketing board knows the farmers. So how can you tell me now that we are food secure? Can Helen feed itself? And that is where we come in. That's where we coming up from with a discourse, a national dialogue. We're not coming to step on anybody's toe or do anything, but I think we need to, and it's very opportune. Now that you mentioned, you said the PS, there's a committee.
Yes.
I think the committee needs now to examine what has transpired. Has it been productive or is not productive? But even if it has been productive, how can we get it more productive?
Right.
Because our food import bill continue to rise. So it tells you that something is not right. Something is not going right.
Correct.
Something is not efficient.
Correct.
Something is not consistently efficient. And that is where we need to begin. So the conversation is supposed to be a conversation where we talk in the talk. It's not anything whereby we have to be afraid of anybody. To my mind, how I live my life is I look at the food on my table, and I also look at the future of my children. And to me, there should be no compromising on this thing. There should be no sugarcoating of this thing. We need to seriously and critically go down to the belly of the beast and examine the national food policy or the national nutrient policy and dissect it and see where we are at. What have we done wrong? What have we done right? The things that we have done right, let us multiply it
and move forward. At this juncture, we are due for our break. You're watching Agriculture on the Move. Stay tuned. We'll be back soon. Don't go away.
The Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, Food Security and Rural Development is placing heavy emphasis on the concept of food security. It's our prosperity, our future. The Farmer Incentives Program of the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, Food Security and Rural Development is aimed at reducing the cost of production and promoting food security and accessibility. All farmers, fishers and agro-processors who've registered and own a farmer's registration card qualify. These incentives include the percentage reduction of excise tax and import duties for agricultural and fisheries production inputs which are imported. These include approved agricultural products for an approved agricultural project, for example, vehicles, fishing vessels, animals, animal feed, planting materials, and other farm inputs. Farmers can apply by completing the application form and submitting with all relevant documents attached. For further information, contact the Deputy Director of Agricultural Services at 468-4125.
Welcome back to the program, Agriculture on the Move. Of course, if you're just joining us, I have three gentlemen here with me, and the talk is food and nutrition security. Are we secured? Can we feed Helen, as it were? It's a discussion that we must have, especially now with, again, as I mentioned earlier, our food import bill is soaring and our inputs are also soaring. So we need to have that conversation. I'm happy that you, Mr. Edwin, you all had a consultation.
Right.
But what I want to find out is that, is it okay? You want a consultation? What I mean is it dead after that?
Oh.
I mean, what came out of it? Okay. What came out of it? Was it documented? And to who was it sent to for discussion, for further discussion? Maybe to look at the policy again and to see how we can implement something positive moving forward.
Right. Yes, it was documented. We have transcript. We have a video, and it was live stream as well. The video has been edited and completed, so we are now ready to, to share the information. The next step we wanted to do with the transcript and the video as well was to print it, get it printed. We have not done that yet. We are looking for funding to do that. But what actually came out of this is that we wanted the conversation, the outcome is conversation to continue. we wanted a kind of structural relationship with the participants, the people who came in, so that we can continue the discussion. And we're looking at how do we cultivate the new generation of farmers, you know. We are looking at that, and we are actually, in fact, yesterday we had a program, we have a discussion about how to, you know, bring in the younger people or new farmers, you know, on stream. You know, the other thing we are looking at is to how we get, you know, the officials, you know, the powers that be, you know, to take this thing seriously, because we are not going anywhere. We are staying right here.
When you say powers that be, who?
Well, that would be government officials, and you know, and so on.
But how long ago you had a consultation?
In June. It was in June.
Yeah,
so it's just a matter of a few months.
In September.
Right. Well,
so
in September.
what have come out of this? Have you had discussion with the powers that be, as you say?
Not. As a matter of fact, we were at a meeting, a national cooperative meeting, just recently.
Yes, I know.
You know, I saw the minister, and we had a short discussion, and he said he's ready to talk. And interestingly, the cooperative department was there, and also the minister of cooperatives. She was also there, and they have agreed to put something on the table, you know, to assist the development of cooperative and to be more, you know, interactive with the farmers and the cooperatives. So that's a good sign.
Okay, good. Okay, Mr. April, climate change is there.
Yeah.
You involved looking at, as the climate smart agricultural officer. What is WUSC doing to help the farmers move forward to, in other words, to mitigate climate change?
So in order for us to arrive, at a meaningful solution to a lot of the problems that we face, and climate change is only one of them. And when we have the discussion about climate change, I also like to talk about the economic climate and other factors other than just the physical environment, because a lot of things are happening while we sleep, right? The physical climate is changing. Currency devaluations, inflation, all of these things are part of the climate. It's part of the environment that the farmers and everybody else has to operate within. So in order for us to tackle issues correctly, we take on what we call an inclusive market systems type approach. So what that does now, especially from the standpoint of food security, help us to identify what exactly is the pathway that the country is on towards food security. Who are the actors that have a part to play? Because we can't leave it on the back of the farmers alone. Okay? Are the roles being fulfilled? All of the different actors that have a part to play, are the roles being fulfilled? Is the necessary support services there? You understand? Does the legislation actually support the food security policy? You understand? Are they working in tandem? So a lot of our analysis comes from being able to identify what are some of the root causes of the problems that we face. From the climate standpoint, how do we continue to build more climate resilient agricultural systems? How do we make our farmers more climate smart? And in essence, try to build on systems that can continue to work for us. Even though the climate may change, it would not be a problem. Even though there is a war tomorrow and there are supply chains disruptions, it will not be a problem. Something else like COVID comes, it will not be a problem. These are the systems that we have to build for ourselves. So that is the path that we are on throughout the life of this project in particular. And it's more about not being able to help one or two people buy tank and no, not like that. Help them to build resilience of their systems, so that systems can withstand the test of time. It can withstand changing climate. It can withstand the rising cost of inputs and other things like that. So
are you seeing success?
So far, so good.
Okay.
So far, so good. And we are getting a lot of cooperation. You know, I mean, of course, it's no easy fate, but you're seeing a lot of cooperation from persons who understand that, hey, we cannot continue with business as usual. You know, and that is what we ought to change. We really need a different approach.
Now, Cobbs, I know you're going through a consultative sort of situation, marketing board, bringing in stakeholders. Tell us about this.
Okay. Well, coming from this, what I call the seed that CCG sowed, our marketing board looking to nurture it a little more.
Okay.
And we believe that the conversion must continue. So we're looking at, there's a collaboration between Solution Marketing Board, WUSC, and the Taiwanese mission for us to continue the conversation. So on Friday, the 30th of September, what we are going to have is a food security consultation, we're looking to approach it from a production, pre-production, production, post-production kind of strategy. Because at every stage, you have issues. What are the issues of pre-production? And I mean, didn't mention climate smart, but I mean, all the farmers, all the rivers are drying up. Isn't that a pre-production, climate smart, no. We have problems with labor. That's a pre-production. Production, what are some of the issues for the soil, of the inputs and all these things? Post-production, of course, would be where marketing board comes in. Do we have storage? Do we have delivery? For example, it is easier for you to get a cabbage, a carrot from South America, Central America, than you get one from Sozel to be consumed at Bouton or to be consumed at La Clery. Why? So this tells you that you have a lot of work to do. You have a lot of discussions to get involved in, and a lot of conversation. So the Friday we're trying to bring all the stakeholders.
Like who? Who are the stakeholders?
The farmers cooperative. We're trying to bring a lot of advocacy. For example, the Rural Women Network. And these are some of the persons, some of the ministries. We're looking at the finance. We're looking at insurance. We're looking at all the various players in the process that will impact on food security in the country. Because we must have the conversation. So that's a Friday. Saturday we're going to have a farmers market, and on a Sunday we're going to have a family food fair kind of thing. So I mean, Jared talk. You've seen some of the progress that's taking place in terms of the agribusiness people, the farmers having their produce, and then you culminate if we need a family, seeing some of the stuff. The children are able to see some of the food, and that kind of thing. That's what the intention is. But as I said, we're placing a lot of emphasis on the dialogue for food security in the country.
Yes, and I think the ministry is, that's a mantra in the ministry now, food and nutrition security. Our minister want to take it to the next level, and I think he cannot do it alone. The ministry cannot do it alone, and of course that's where you all come in. Marketing board, you come in and you come in to ensure that at least we need to speak or to sing from the same hymnal. We have to do it. Final words from yourself, we come to the end,
Well, I want us to take the food security in a context that it is for our kids, it is for our health, and it is really to increase the revenue of the country. I think if you look at that is a way that we can probably move forward.
Okay. What's about you?
Food security is a matter of survival.
Okay, good.
It's a serious matter of survival. We have to take it seriously, and we should never give up in pushing the agenda.
Great.
Food security, from my standpoint, is the power of a nation.
Yes.
And we have the capacity to do it for ourselves, but we need to, like my colleagues have said, we need to get it right.
Definitely.
So it's about time we have that talk.
Yes, and I think that will not be the last time we will have that conversation. In fact, after that consultation, I think we need to come back again and look at the results, and then by then I'm hoping that the ministry with its team looking at the next 3 years, the policy, we would be able to see something tangible, some good return. So I really want to thank you all for being here. I also want, before I end, remind persons about our CMOS Fiesta on October 16th, World Food Day at Fodor. It starts at 10 o'clock and it ends at 6 o'clock. Everything to do with CMOS, definitely come down there and see it. The various derivatives from CMOS, from the CMOS agro-processors, from the farmers, from the school children. We want to have a family day, of course, and with entertainment, complementing the activity. So be there in large numbers so that you can enjoy yourself. Again, thank you for viewing the program. And remember, agriculture is our business. Eat fresh. St. Lucia's best. The money stays right here. Thank you for viewing, and thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Mr. Copping here, Mr. Avril, and also Mr. Edwin for being here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great pleasure.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole mouvement.
Agriculture on the move.
Agricole mouvement.